Wolverine's second outing is leagues ahead of his first. The Wolverine is directed by James Mangold and stars Hugh Jackman, Rila Fukushima, Will Yun Lee, and Tao Akamoto. And like I said, this is his second solo outing after the disastrous attempt at exploring his origins in X-Men Origins Wolverine. And this movie takes place, it's actually the first movie in the X-Men universe to take place after The Last Stand. So it was pretty big in that, as The Last Stand came out in 2007, this movie came out in 2013. And we had two X-Men movies in between that time, and both of them were before the first one. I feel like maybe some directors they brought on and stuff, and writers were too afraid to tackle that world past, like, the huge Mutant War and the Cure and all that stuff. So they didn't know what exactly they wanted to do, and I don't even think Fox knew exactly what they wanted to do after that trilogy. So I think that's why they're exploring the origins of, like, the X-Men and Wolverine. Well, along came James Mangold, who gave us our first story post these huge events that trilogy brought upon. And they decided to make it about Wolverine. Because, he was essentially the star of that trilogy. And so they chose to make it a little more small scale for the most part. And so they pretty much just have it an isolated story about Wolverine and kind of like his PTSD with killing Jean in The Last Stand. And I think all that stuff works. I think the little kind of exploring what he has been through was really well done. So, like, I liked the beginning when he's just, alone, growing a beard and stuff, thinking about, like, everything that he has been through and throughout that trilogy and what he did at the end there. So, I think all that was done very well. I'm really glad that they chose to follow just Wolverine and not try to set up huge events. They do that a little bit at the end there, but it's not really fully followed through in the next movie. But it's just it's a good movie, but it's also really just like kind of middling. Like, I really enjoy it and I have fun with it and stuff. And I'm like, when it's over, I'm like, that was good. But it's not a movie that stays in my head long. There are moments like after watching stuff like Logan, which is one of my all-time favorite movies, and me like, oh, James Mangold set some stuff up from that movie and paid it off in this one in ways that you didn't expect. Mostly everyone knows with Yukio, who is they're the same person, but they're very different in the Deadpool movies, so that creates a little bit of a problem. But the X-Men movies don't follow a timeline anymore. They say they do, but it's just a mess. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know. It's probably a good idea. It's probably good that they ended it before they made it even more confusing. And we're just going to have things reset. It's probably for the best. But basically, it's a small scale story that doesn't leave a huge impression where I'm like, oh, I'm just like, alright, that was fun. Waiting for the next big one, which is Days of Future Past, which pretty much everyone knew was happening at that point. So the people were pretty much like, alright, I'll wait for that one next. And that's about it. There's nothing bad with telling a small-scale story, but it also doesn't leave an impression I'm glad James Mangold got another chance at directing, because like the directing is fine in this movie. There's nothing like really special about the direction of this movie, but getting him back for Logan was amazing, because that movie is phenomenal, looks phenomenal. Hugh Jackman puts in a pretty decent performance. Everyone's putting in a pretty decent performance in this. Like I said, it doesn't feel like anyone's going really above and beyond for this movie. They're just making a movie, and they're having a little bit of fun with it, which is fine. I like that. Entertain me for 2 hours. That's really what a movie should be doing. It's just entertain someone. And did this movie entertain me? Was I entertained? It's up to them how they entertain me. Hereditary is a movie where it gets real, like any Ari Aster movie is a movie that gets real and pretty depressing at moments and stuff. It's actually mostly depressing, like both those movies are mostly depressing, but you're entertained throughout. And I'm entertained with this movie, so I think this movie passed on a basic level of entertainment, which is good. Where the movie really just drops for me is they fight with the Silver Samurai at the end, the final battle. It didn't do anything for me. So yeah, I'm going to give the Wolverine a 75 Silver Samurais out of 100. It's a perfectly passable movie that you can flip on and enjoy. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about the Wolverine. I do suggest that you should watch it. I think it's pretty entertaining, but not much of anything. So yeah, that's about it. Have you seen the Wolverine? If so, tell me what you thought of it down below. Do you like it more than I do? Or not as big of a fan? If you like this video, like and subscribe. And this is Jordan from Jordan Reviews, signing off.